Hello guys, it's Jonathan here doing another Bottleman video. This time, I want to ask the question, should control types exist? Now this also does apply to B-Daman as well, if, B-Daman comes back or if Bottleman comes back. Yeah, should control types be a part of it? Which might sound like a weird question at first, but trust me, I do have some thoughts on this one, so... Let's just go ahead and start by explaining what control types do. What are their gimmicks? So first up, barrels. This one has a different barrel, it's the arrow barrel, but like generally there's something closer to, this, right? But I just have arrow setter because it has like every main gimmick, so yeah, anyway. Barrels help to increase the accuracy of a Bottleman. They do slightly reduce speed, but like not in power, but like not really much at all. It's like barely noticeable, but yeah, they do help to improve accuracy a bit, which is nice. But there's also, I guess like better grips. This thing, of course, does have a a better grip than average, I would say. That's cool. Also stability. Of course, has the stabilizers, more plastic touching the ground, helps it. It looks like put some force on this to hold it down better. Just stays planted a bit better. I am on a bed, so like it's not perfect, but you get the idea. And also, you have a sight. This horn works as a sight, helps you to line up your shot. And I guess this arrow barrel kind of supports that as well. But yeah. Those are kind of the main gimmicks of control types, and it is what it is. But my problem here is that I feel like these gimmicks are bland. They don't do a whole lot. See, speed and power types do much more. Power types focus on just being powerful. How strong can you shoot? Whereas speed types focus on not being as strong. They're weaker. I mean, with Bottleman they have rollers. They're meant to not shoot as strong, as I said. But generally they have higher capacity than average. So you just want to rapid fire, right? These niches at least work for making types, but control types I feel like are left behind a bit. Like, okay, slightly better accuracy with, a barrel and a sight, but like anything has a sight really. Like, you can use many other things on a Bottleman or B-Daman for a sight. Hell, I mean, even some power types or speed types have kind of built-in sights on them. Maybe not as prominent, and also, I mean, yeah, control types, like you have this thing, but also, this thing, like Sparking Knight, just kind of has a whole ring trigger going on, or not ring trigger, ring sight. It helps quite a bit, I guess, but there's still other methods there. And while barrels are helpful, yeah, Bottleman did lock barrels to control types, but that's not really a thing with a lot of B-Daman. I mean, you could use barrels on other types. And, well, yes, you could also use magazines on other types. Speed types also have the additional gimmick, again, kind of having hold parts that allow you to shoot faster. Whereas, power types, they don't shoot as fast. I mean, they're stronger, so they have more defined gimmicks in that regard, I would say, whereas control types kind of don't. I mean, the whole parts are pretty basic on these. As far as grips goes, there's other, things that have grips on them. I mean, grips in general are kind of a thing on a lot of the Bottlemen. I mean, look at Colomar Energy DX, that thing has a giant grip on it, and it's a power type. Stabilizers, I mean, you can kind of just hold the Bottleman, and it's fairly stable. Like, it's not that big of a deal. But I guess stabilizers can work to some degree. It's just, it's not really that interesting, honestly. That's the problem. These gimmicks are kind of uninteresting. There are things you can kind of apply to any Bottleman, and it would help, I guess. Yeah, I guess a barrel can slightly reduce power or whatever, but it's an option if you want better accuracy. A grip or stabilizer, these are things that can just help with Bottlemen in general. Again, you don't have to use them if you don't want them, but, they're there. A sight is always helpful. Like a sight and grip, these are never not helpful. Like, any Bottleman will benefit from these, Stabilizers and barrels are a bit more questionable, but do these really do enough to warrant their own type? I don't really think so. And should control types continue to exist in this way? I actually don't really think so. And yeah, there are other gimmicks, like, for example here, Sparking Knight, this thing has its rail trigger system, which, helps the trigger to stay straight. That's nice, but again, it's kind of like a barrel where it's a smaller improvement overall. Still helpful, but Does it warrant its own type? Not really. You can throw us on like a lot of the other Bottlemen. It'd work. Or again, just maybe have like a different type. Like a balance type, for example. We'll get to that in a minute. But where something like this can just work. There are movement-based gimmicks, like, Earth Thrower moves side to side. However, we've had movement gimmicks in both B-Daman and Bottleman, and it can't seem to figure out if it wants to be on a speed type or a control type. But, I mean, a movement gimmick, it's cool. It's an idea that can be unique to control types if you want to make it like that. But the problem is it actually that beneficial than just moving a Bottleman, and also conflicts with stabilizers, which is okay, but still, I mean, it's fine as a gimmick, but doesn't need to be a control-specific gimmick. Does it make control type stand out? Not really. You also have another special case here, like Deck V Tiger Jeet with its, vertical cap, which just shoots a very straight. It's a good idea for control type, and it definitely does work for, well, the control type, but again, does shooting straight necessarily need to be a control gimmick? No. These things are designed to shoot straight most of the time. So making a smaller improvement to help that, although maybe vertical caps are actually pretty good, but still, making some kind of improvement to that's not like crazy, because again, these things are meant to shoot straight. I don't necessarily think these kind of more incremental upgrades really warrant their own type. With that in mind, how do we fix this? There's two routes you can go. We have Route A and Route B. Okay, Route A. Balance types. So balance types have existed technically before, but this would be a little bit different. So balance types are kind of also a neutral type, a basic type even. They're Bottlemen that kind of just thrive on, having these more smaller scale changes that make them better overall. Like again, maybe a stabilizer or a better grip overall. Just things that are more basic, right? They could also maybe implement slight things from power types or speed types to make them, have other improvements, or even again have, more interesting gimmicks like, Deck V Tiger here. Or yes, you can kind of just have these Bottlemen be a little bit better versions of control types, but they're not really designed to be, well, control types. They can do other things as well. Again, a balance type. It's just meant to be just kind of overall has better things going on as a basic Bottleman, while also, incorporating some other things from like speed and power types, but it's not meant to just be about control, because I feel like that's a little bit, well, boring. That's a simple route. It's just sort of adding on a few quality of life changes to control types, and adding a little bit from other types to make a new type, basically. I think that would work. But then we have Route B. This is a more fun one. Improve control types and make them stand out more. I think you could do this. So first up, instead of like just having a site which can be done on anything, why not make crazier sites? Like, I mean, the ring site kind of does that a little bit, but like, why not go even crazier? Why not have like a red dot site or something? Just go insane. Or why not have more specialized like barrels or something? I mean, you could maybe have some that have like even like a battery powered like air current or something to push caps, or just have some kind of curve on the barrel, or have like a plus barrel that can shoot, vertically or horizontally depending on the core. You could definitely go crazier with the barrels, or even mix the red dot and the barrel together to have the sight mixed into the barrel. There's definitely things you could do, and barrels are definitely harder to make crazier versions of opposed to magazines, but again, it is more than doable. Especially if you go back to marbles with B-Daman, I think you could definitely make some really crazy barrels with that. It'd be a pretty decent idea, I would say, but yeah, it's at least worth considering. Next up, grips. You can make crazier grips, just a bigger grips or more specialized grips, maybe like one-handed grips. And yeah, while that's generally a speed gimmick, you could still get away with something like that. It doesn't have to be a super, speed-oriented thing. It'd just be like a giant grip, like, I don't know, this thing here, but like actually made a little bit more proper. Where yes, you have the one-handed thing, which could still work as a control gimmick, I think. A one-handed grip, it works. Again, this grip's a little bit awkward, so I'd make a better one, but you can definitely do something like that. Just make some crazy grips, or just even larger grips. Just something that really feels like it has control, or even make a grip that kind of doubles as a stabilizer, which we kind of saw in Polymer Energy DX, which is the power type, which is kind of awkward, but still, stuff like that can work. And next up we have kind of the different stabilizer idea. So all stabilizers, you can make like a giant stabilizer, like think of something like, Premium Sapphire, which uses Blast Boss as a base. Its control type is a giant Bottleman, right? You could have like a giant grip on like a giant base or something. Something that is super stable, or you can make a different idea. Why not have like a turret? Like have a bottom part that's kind of larger, very much stuck to the ground, but above that it just free spins, and the bottom itself, with how you're shooting it, would just free spin. There'd be a base on the ground, but it would just give you much better range of motion to like just spin the thing around and just shoot at one point while turning, so you're not, moving your Bottleman around a lot, right? It just stays planted while you, shoot. There's no changes with that. And again, you could also have things like the rail trigger system incorporated more often, or just in different ways. There's a lot of things I think you could do to improve control types. I don't know, maybe I'll make a video on how to improve types eventually as a whole. Maybe with that I'll actually write out like proper part changes or something. These are just some vague ideas to where, yes, I think control types, they can still work as a concept. It's just that they need to put a lot more effort into them, which is a little bit unfortunate because I think power and speed types kind of just make themselves, and you can make pretty basic gimmicks and get away with it. Whereas control types, they're too bland, and even if you make more specialized ones, they generally just have that gimmick going for it, and it's like, what else really is there? So yeah, there definitely needs to be some work done on control types to make them actually stand out as types, but I don't think they're a complete lost cause. However, if you don't want to go that route, I think just replacing them with like a balanced type would make much more sense, because like, I think they kind of struggle otherwise, because as is, they're too bland, I think, and yeah. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that. Should control types be made to be, just overall a little bit more crazy, or should you kind of keep them toned down, but maybe change it to be a balanced type? Because I just think conceptually it'd make more sense. Or do the control types as is. Yeah. Also, do you want me to make a video where I go over like every type and just try and like make them better, make different types of parts, or just change like the parts that exist, make new variants of parts and whatnot, like conceptualize them. I can't actually like, physically make them, but you know what I mean. Just conceptualizing some new stuff, and how they would work. Maybe at some point. Anyway, I think that's gonna about do it for this video. So yeah, anyways, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.